Today I am with Lisa Maurer, and what a great opportunity. So she's here in South Jordan, our little podcast studio, and thank you for coming. We're very excited to have you here.
I'm excited to be here.
So you just shared with me the solution that you identified, and they are very precious, and I connect very well with them. Basically, you're trying to help kids and teenagers, especially teenagers, to understand how big they can dream.
Yes. Yeah, it's a big deal to help youth figure out how to dream, because so many times they've been, you're just dreaming. You need to just take care of stuff. You need to do what you need to do. And a lot of youth have been kept in forced learning stage. They're forced to go to school, they're forced to wake up, they're forced to write the paper, they're forced to read the book, they're forced to do the homework. And if they don't, then they lose their phone, they lose their free time, they lose whatever it is. And, there's some boundaries that need to happen within families, but forced learning is in schools, and it's a mindset. It's where they don't have any opportunities to take care of things, to go out and dream. And I think that forced learning is also happening within being stuck behind a video game, because they don't feel like they can move out, but it's become such a habit. Those video games have become such a habit that forced learning even happens in that area. They don't feel like they can get out and dream, so letting go of video games and the opportunity to just go lay in the grass and doze off if they feel like it and wake up thinking about what they want to do. It's a big deal.
Why don't more kids think about their divine calling, their purpose, or their duty, or their beautiful responsibility in the future?
Oh, that's a great question. I think a lot of them are because they are stuck in reward stage. They want to be rewarded for whatever they do, and because they've been told that that's how they are. But a lot of youth, that's kind of where a lot of youth are, you know what do I get out of it? And a lot of youth like the tangible. They like I get money out of it. Monetary is a big motivator, right? And so we want to motivate them, and so we use those sorts of things to motivate them. And I think a lot of them they're still so extrinsically motivated by so many people in their lives that they don't get to find out who they are and what they want, what their purpose is, and what their beautiful responsibility gets to be, what their divine calling, like what is their divine calling. And they're so distracted by video games and being rewarded for everything that they do that they don't get up to a level until later in their life when maybe things come together a little bit easier and they can start focusing on what they want. College, kids go through high school, junior high, and all of those, and they get a diploma, and then they go to university or college. And that's when they get to start thinking about, wow, what do I want to do? But that actually needs to happen clear back in grade school. Well, maybe more like 7th or 8th grade, starting them to dream about what they want. There's certain things that you just need to know, just because you just need to know them. How our government works, that's an important thing to just know. You just need to know stuff.
I love it.
But you still need to allow for those times. When I was a teacher, I would do what's called board time in my classroom. And we started with 5 minutes, and those kids hated board time because nothing was happening. They had been trained for so long to be engaged in something, to be doing every single minute, that to have board time really frustrated them. But it was a time by the end of the school year, we'd move from 5 minutes at the beginning to about 20 minutes at the end. Can we have board time? I need to think.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
They never have time to just think for themselves because they're always busy doing adults' work.
Yeah.
They don't get to do their own.
Would you say that people don't think about the future because they're too busy thinking about the rewards of the present? They're trying to leave the present, to be present, and don't let the time go by.
Yeah.
And they don't think about the future.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Is that good or bad?
I don't think that that's a good thing. It's quite not the good thing. What is necessary, I think a lot of parents right now with everything that's going on in our economy and everything are really stressed out, and they are living in the present. They're not thinking about what they can do in 5 or 10 years' time. And so that's not what they teach their kids by attitude, by example, by any of that. They're more trying to take care of that. And their kids watch them and learn to be stuck in the present. And kids need to be able to think about and dream about the future and what they can do about being wealthy one day, right?
Yeah. So people who are living in the reward mentality, or the lower level, or the 1D dimension, as we talked about, I know that some people often they use the excuse of, we need to live the present. We can't be dreaming about the future. I need to enjoy the present. I've learned, me, Anderson, that the best way for me to enjoy the present is being present, preparing for the future.
Yes. You will relieve a lot of stress in the future by preparing for it. You can't ignore the present. You can't ignore what's happening right now, but you can't ignore what's going to be happening in 5 or 10 years from now either, because where does that get you? Stuck where you are right now. Because if you're not thinking about how to move on and how to progress and how to grow, then you're not moving on. And that's what I love about my program, is that it helps youth, and parents and adults, it helps them think about what they want, and it's a visual representation of how to get what they want, how to get what they need, probably first off. But it helps them to see, oh, you know what? I don't want to live in fear anymore. I want to live respecting myself. What can I do to get there? All right. I am going to start talking about the great ideas, and that is going to raise up their mentality to thinking about, all right, let's talk about ideas. I'm not going to talk about people anymore. I'm going to talk about ideas. And then why? I'm going to start asking why. I'm going to start asking people, well, why is that? Once you start asking why about everything, it just totally raises your view of the world, because you're getting a bigger perspective of how to advance your thinking into being more intrinsic, so that you can rule yourself instead of waiting for somebody else to tell you what to do, what the next steps are.
One thing I've noticed is that, let me just correct one screen right here. My screen was wrong. Yours is perfect. One thing I noticed is that people who are born and raised in the bubble, in the current school diploma system,
yes,
they often get anxiety thinking and preparing for the future. Have you seen that as well in your 17 years of teaching teenagers?
Yes, a lot of them in seniors, because, and I kind of figured this out, I would ask them, ooh, you are 2 months away from graduating from high school. What are you going to do? I don't know. I don't have a plan. I'm like, that's okay. You can take a month or two and figure it out. You don't have to have a plan right away. It gets to be an exciting thing to talk about when you do end up talking about it. But a lot of them have been told what to know, and told what to do, and told where to sit, and told when they can go to use the restroom, and told all of these things, that all of a sudden the world, we expect them as a society to just all of a sudden go out and make all these big choice decisions where they have not had that opportunity.
To think for their own.
Yeah, to think for themselves. It's in school, it has to be somewhat organized if you're going to have 36 plus kids in a classroom, which I was blessed to not have to have that many in my classroom with the school that I taught at. But it's exhausting for teachers to try to keep order with no help, right? And you might have an aide in there, but sometimes that aide can't help you because they're there for one specific student. And to have that many kids in a classroom and to keep order and to know where all the kids are because they're your responsibility, that's exhausting. And so kids have to follow the rules. Don't touch people. Just sit down. You've only got 5 minutes in the restroom so that somebody else can go. It's very school.
Why do you think that so many people here in Utah or in U.S., especially in the lower class and in the middle class, do not spend time thinking about the future? and thinking about what they can become, thinking about the problems that they could solve, thinking about their divine calling, their divine purpose, duty in society. Why do some people think that by doing that, we are taking their childhood and their teenage years away?
That is another really great question. I feel like if a family lives in poverty, they are not teaching their kids to dream. They're teaching them to live within the boundaries of what they know. They're teaching them how to stretch food, how to pay for the necessary bills, how to, find another part-time job to cover all those bills, wherever situation that they have. They're not teaching them to dream and to think about all the possibilities. They're teaching them to see all the limitations because that's the way they live. A lot of parents might live that way. And so even in different schools, I think that there are mentalities of seeing limitations because you're taught to live in limitations.
Some of the parents I've seen that they send their kids to find a job when they're 15, 16, or around the teenage years with the purpose of learning a skill.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a good thing.
Yes.
But I noticed that can be awful.
Yes.
Because what skill are you learning? Does your skill go along with your long-term vision, with your divine purpose? Which problem do you feel inclined to solve in life?
Yes.
And I know that, but on the other hand, I'm not classifying that going to work as a teenager as good or bad. I'm just saying the good and bad things about it. One of the good things is that in those jobs, you're probably learning. You're learning about what you want and what you don't want for your life. But I still think that is going to be useless if families and friends are not thinking about the long term, about a vision, about the future.
Yes.
What is your take on that?
I think that a job outside of high school is a great opportunity to learn responsibility and to learn to work for a purpose for yourself and to also be amongst people that help you to respect and to understand different cultures and different areas, different people. I think it's really good. But I think a lot of youth also, like I would not allow my kids to get a job in high school because I was wanting their full-time job to be school. But they need also to have the opportunity to see life in different aspects, to see life and how it lives. I mean, I waited on tables for I don't know how many years, right? I've worked in retail for I don't know how many years, and it has given me a broader perspective and a respect for other people that if I hadn't done those things, I wouldn't have that compassion and respect for people that do those things because they are trying to pay the bills, which, was a lot of reasons that a lot of people could do that. But with youth having that opportunity to gain that responsibility, it's good. And it gives them also a way out of the humdrum of school. Because with my perspective, I did not allow my kids to get a job because I wanted them to focus and then to have some time to play. But most of their focus was on doing schoolwork, and they need a break from that too at the same time. But my kids were also in school and were in forced learning at the time, and I didn't understand forced learning while they were in school.
Yeah.
Having that opportunity to open up, man, their repertoire of getting to know different people and understanding where they want to be in life. I mean, because you can have the hope of working fast food the rest of your life. You can. I mean, and for some people that might just be exactly what they need and what they provide for themselves. But I don't want to limit any youth from being able to go out and figure it out for themselves and find out what their divine purpose is. But I also think that sometimes that's just youth is a baby step toward figuring out what your divine calling is. It's a baby step towards that because how old was I when I figured out my baby step of, what my divine calling was? I was old.
Me too. I was close to 30s. When we started our conversation today, you showed me a quote. I don't know who that person is, but you're going to know. That has to do with being free to do what you want versus being free to do what you ought to do.
Yes, Charles Kingsley in 1886, I think it was.
Okay.
Yes. There are two freedoms. And we need to help youth figure out that they want to live in true freedom and not live in faux freedom. It's really important. There are two freedoms, and it's important that we don't just do what we want and we don't have any boundaries within that. That's not freedom. Freedom is living within the boundaries of society, within what you believe, within your morals and values. Freedom is recognizing you're doing what you ought to do, real true freedom, not just what you want to do, because that's something that's fake. That's a fake freedom that binds you up later on in life. It's a serious thing to me.
I love it, and that's one thing that we agree on.
Mm-hmm.
The way I see is that when you cannot help another person if you don't help yourself first.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But I think that I don't think the world teaches that you are the highest priority and you are the ultimate goal.
Mm-hmm.
You have to live until you do everything you want. You have everything you want to have. And it's all about you, and you.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I've learned is, number one, love God above all things. And then number two, love yourself as you love others. Or actually, the other way around. Let me start that over. The way I learned is that, number one, love God above all things.
Mm-hmm.
And number two, love others as you love yourself. So actually, the commandment is love others. It's not love yourself.
Mm-hmm.
The commandment has two parts. It's like love others as you love yourself. And the way I take it is that, first, you need to learn to love yourself, because that will be necessary. That will be important for you to fulfill the whole commandment, which is loving others.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, I want to have freedom. I want to be happy. I want to be whole. I want to be abundant, because that will be my best version, and that will have me prepared the most to then help the world.
Yeah. One of the things that Jordan Peterson says is clean your room, right? And it is taking care of your business in your personal circle. And Stephen Covey talks about that too, your circle of control, right? Take care of what you can take care of. And as you take care of what you can take care of, that grows into this bigger, a larger circle, and it just keeps getting bigger. With Jordan Peterson, clean your room, start taking care of yourself. You can't go out and really save the world until you have yourself figured out. And to love others as you love yourself can happen when you've figured out the ground you stand on.
Yes, I love it. And I love this conversation. I love how we both agree that we are here to be happy so we can help other people be happy.
Yes.
We're not here to be happy so we can start forcing other people to respect our happiness and see the world around us. No, it's about collaborating.
Yeah.
And in closing, the last thing I wanted to ask you is, Lisa Maurer, what is the difference between schooling and education?
Oh, my favorite question. Schooling is when you have a lot of boxes that you need to tick off to say, I learned this, I learned this, I learned this, I learned this. And then the next row is, I regurgitated this on a test. I regurgitated this on a test. I regurgitated this on a test. And then I forgot it, I forgot it, I forgot it, I forgot it, because it doesn't really have any meaning to you. Education is the changing of your soul through experience, through different cultures and experiencing that, through reading, through conversations like this. It enriches your soul through seeking and finding truth. So many options in education. It is the changing of your soul. It is not leaving your soul the same. Schooling leaves your soul the same. It's not there to expand it. It's not there to help it become better. It is there to just tick off the boxes for an adult, to satisfy the adult's desire to, hey, what did we do in your schooling today?
I can't wait to read your book.
Oh, thank you.
You have to publish.
Okay.
From my understanding from what you just shared with me is that schooling is a checkbox.
Mm-hmm.
So you can learn how to survive.
Yeah.
So you're ready for the basic of workforce.
Yes, you're ready for a job.
And education is thriving.
Yes.
Education is learning with a purpose, not because you're told to,
Yes.
not because it's a necessity, but because there is an inner desire in your heart,
Yeah.
a divine mission to help yourself and others.
Yes.
And so you are engaged and you find joy both in the present and joy in your vision of the future, of what you can become and how you can contribute.
Yeah. On the 3-tier theory here, job is on the bottom. You get a job because you are living in fear or want the reward of a paycheck, and that's all. A career is when you respect other people and you're respecting yourself. But when you're at the very top and you're doing your divine calling and you're loving God and others, it is about working to accomplish your life mission. And your life mission may include career, right? But your life mission, what is that purpose? What's that big, grand, beautiful purpose that you get to go out and change the world with? And every single person has one. Whether it's, in your community or whether it's around the world, you have a purpose to build humanity, to build people, to build all that beautiful stuff. And it's important to recognize that schooling is forced learning. If you don't give youth the opportunity to grow and to open up and to dream, like we were talking about, they're always going to stay in forced learning and in schooling. We have to allow them to open up and see the possibilities and surround themselves, like you were talking about, surround themselves with people who are successful and who have figured a lot of things out so that they can grow and become and figure out that purpose.
Lisa, this was an amazing podcast. It was a short one, but powerful one.
Thank you.
Lisa Maurer has been a teacher for the last 17 years, and you have worked close with teenagers. You have noticed that many of them are living way under their potential in trapped lives, being told what to do rather than already dreaming about the future and understanding more about themselves, who they are, and who they can become.
Yes.
And so you are in the mission of helping kids to grow. Love it. Thank you, Lisa. And we will continue to work together.
Yes, we will.
This is Anderson Francisco. Actually, let me do it from this camera right here. This is Anderson Francisco, the founder and owner of Anderson Builders Utah and Go Big Mentality. And today I had an amazing conversation with Lisa Maurer, an amazing teenage teacher for the last 17 years who is about to publish a book and is doing amazing works to improve the quality of kids and families.